What's up, Pokemon trading card game fans? Welcome to episode 100. That's 100.
Triple digits
of the Special Conditions podcast, the TCG podcast, where our love for competing and collecting collide. Special Conditions is part of the Pokemon Professor Network, and today is Wednesday, January 19th, 2022. I'm one of your hosts, Adam Tuttle. I'm joined by that other lovely voice, my co-host, Ken Pescator. What's good?
Congratulations, Adam. 100 episodes, dude.
I didn't think we'd make it this far.
Pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. I haven't been here for all 100. I came in very late in the game. Shout out to Josh Brown, the original co-host of the Special Conditions podcast.
Josh, we miss you every day.
But yeah, dude, 100 episodes. Super awesome. It's pretty incredible, man.
It is. It's like the edible egg. It's incredible. No.
Oh, my God. How have you been, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. I dipped my toes back into the competitive TCGO area.
How'd that go for you?
Terrible. I joined in a team challenge for my local store. Shout out to Jetpack Comics. So there's a total of 3 rounds. There were 7 people. First round, I played against a Jolteon VMAX Inteleon build, and I have no idea what it does.
Well, what were you using?
I was using Rayquaza VMAX and the Flaffy line to absorb the electric energies onto the Rayquaza to one-shot things. Basically, they just ping a Zigzagoon and put 10 damage on one of my benched Flaffies or Mareeps, and then they use Boss's Order, drag one out, and then do 100 to the active and 100 to the bench for 1 energy.
Ouch.
That if you take away the engine, you can't do anything. So that was that. The second round, I played against Mew, and holy cow, I didn't realize that it just copies the Genesect move on the bench. I don't know what I was thinking, but it does 210. That kind of knocks out any of my Vs. So they just target your Vs, knock them out, and there's nothing I can do after that. They take 2 energies to one-shot pretty much anything. It was a sad day.
It didn't go too well for you.
The last round, I got the bye, so I won 1.
Look at that! Look, congrats.
So let's just say I did not have a good start to the event season.
Well, welcome back to competitive TCG. What a warm welcome it gave you.
Well, also, I haven't opened very many Fusion Strike packs in general, so I don't have a lot of Fusion Strike cards. I think I have 1 Mew V, and that's it. So it's not like I could just jump on the bandwagon and play that deck, you know?
Well, oddly enough, Adam, today we are going to be looking at Mew VMAX and Mew
I know.
V.
I'm aware.
In card of the week.
I'm still salty. But in a good way. But on today's show, we're celebrating our 100th episode. Woo!
You.
Card of the week, Mew VMAX, of course. TCGplayer.com booster opening. Ken's got lots of boosters to open.
I got a couple.
Okay, a couple. But I don't have one, so Ken's going to open a couple for me. Art of the week is Zweilous. These look fabulous.
Yeah.
Brilliant Stars is coming out and will shake up the current meta. And then Logan Paul's $3.5 million first edition base set box was fake. I mean, I think we saw the writing on the wall there. As soon as the community in general, when they start to have, like, there's experts and there's people that know what they're, you know, if there's a booster case, no way. Somebody would have opened
Here's the thing, man.
Sold one already.
We'll get into it. There's a history here, and it's documented history. So we'll kind of turn the clock back, and we'll look back at the history of this case, and there was just like red flags from the
Time
gate,
Wizard.
so it's really bad. Oh boy, let's not talk about other card games, Adam.
Oh yeah. So I was playing a lot of Digimon. Clearly.
Stop it. All right, card of the week, Adam.
Saying.
Card of the week, Adam.
Card of the week is Mew VMAX. 310 hit points. It's a Fusion Strike Psychic type Pokemon. It evolves from Mew V. For 2 colorless energies, Cross Fusion Strike. Choose one of your benched Fusion Strike Pokemon's attacks and use it as this attack.
So it
broken.
pretty much is like a copycat, right? Why
Yes,
broken?
It's broken.
Is it because it beat you?
Genesect V can do 210. Yes, the caveat says it can't attack next turn. There's a million switches. There's ways to get around it. It has free retreat to start, and then you run switch and all. Oh gosh,
the free retreat is huge. But help me understand Fusion Strike. Like, let me in on this mechanic. Like, explain this to me.
So it's the same thing as Single Strike, as Rapid Strike. There's just a different battle style.
And how many cards kind of fall under this heading?
A portion, but not a whole lot.
So
there's
less than the
some
Single
Strike Pokemon that came out. There's some Rapid Strikes. There's also a Deoxys that's Fusion Strike.
Okay.
And it's Single Strike, and it's Rapid Strike.
But for this cross Fusion Strike, right? So I guess it would really... The performance of this move is really going to be dependent on what you have on your bench. So what
Correct.
You pair Mew VMAX with is kind of the catalyst to success here, right? So if you pair it with a Genesect...
Decks, as I've been seeing recently, because I've been playing with free play, is they just run a ton of item cards, so they can run through all these cards really fast. They run the Cram-O-Matic, which you have to discard a card to play the card, and then you flip a coin. And if you get tails, you don't get anything. If you get heads, you get to search your deck for a card. So essentially, you just keep dumping all these cards, and then use Genesect to draw cards until you have 5 with its ability, which I'm blanking on. But you can use each one. So if you have 4 Genesects on the bench, you can just go boop, 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 and just keep drawing cards.
Oh,
it is so broken. It's so broken.
Wow. And I'd imagine that once, I guess if you're really trying to use this attack, you don't necessarily even need to prep any of the Pokemon that are on your bench, right? You just need to get them on your bench. You don't have to put energy on them because you can just use their attack by Mew.
You just need the energies on Mew.
Wonderful. Nice.
Wonderful. And let's go into the alt art and the hyper rare and just... I mean, the alt art is okay.
What?
It looks the same. They couldn't have put it in a different pose. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's a little busy. There is a lot going on here, but I do think it's really cute because there's like a little, like, I don't know, is that like a radio or something? I don't know what it is, but it looks so cute. It's like a little electronic device or something. It almost looks like he's holding a phone or a Dex or something. But
I don't know.
But what about this Max Miracle attack?
Max Miracle for 2 Psychic Energies does 130 damage. It says this attack's damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So if you think you're going to get away with Zamazenta blocking a VMAX, this thing goes right through it.
Oh, okay.
So you just do a couple of turns of that and you're good to go.
Wow.
Yeah, there's really nothing that stops this. It's kind of upsetting.
Wow.
I mean, it is weakness to Dark. So if there's a cheeky Dark type that can come into play and one-shot this, that'd be brilliant.
Well, you know, when I was doing the research on this and looking at like Limitless and looking at some of the blogs that are out on people talking about this card, they really have said that it's super dominant right now and there's no answer.
Yeah. I believe Ross Cawthon came out with a single prizer deck, which ran Tapu Koko to free retreat, draw cards, and then he ran the Moltres that when you play it down, you can attach 2 dark energies to, and then the Hoopa that from the bench to the active does 90.
Oh, yes.
To just kind of abuse the single prizers and be able to one-shot your Mew Vs or the Mew VMAX.
Wow. I think that it'll probably take 2 things. Either new cards coming out that can be direct counters or people getting super crafty like that. But wow.
And then unfortunately, the crafty part is most decks are built to be consistent. And so if you run against something that can just handle your small attacks, then you're kind of done for.
Yeah. Oof. All right, well, let's backpedal a little bit and look at Mew V. And what I thought was cool here was Mew V was actually released earlier, right? In Darkness Ablaze? Was it Darkness Ablaze?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or was it Darkness Ablaze?
I think
I'm
it's
not sure.
Darkness Ablaze.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah. So, I mean, there was already a Mew V, but now there's a Mew V with Fusion Strike, which is the much better one because it's got free retreat. I mean, its attacks basically energy mix, search your deck for an energy card and attach it to one of your Fusion Strike Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. That's any energy. Just says search your deck for an energy, not a basic. Right. And then for a Psychic and a Colorless, it's got Psychic Leap, does 70. You may shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. Not that that comes up very often, but imagine putting that down and you have a Mew VMAX in the active with like 10 hit points left. You just do Psychic Leap and throw it away.
Oh,
you throw it, yeah. So it's there's ways out.
Interesting.
Yeah, the beauty is it does have 180, so you can one-shot it with a Hoopa, because that does 90. 90 times 2 is 180. Yes, that's why there's a weakness. And then I love the design of this card, because it literally is a figure 8 with its tail kind of like moving in the background.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. Well, here, this is cool. I like how when you have your VMAX, you'll pretty much always have the secret rare, like the rainbow, and then you have your alt art, right? But the V, they'll typically do a full art version and then also the alt art version. So we've got 3 completely different looks here between the 3 Fusion Strike Mews. Which one is your favorite? I am
the full
almost... Art. Me too. Yep. The full art is definitely the cutest.
It's a hard focus on Mew. The alt art for the Mew is it's pushed into the background. It doesn't look really prominent. It's just even the regular Mew V from Darkness Ablaze, like they all look like Mew, and the alt art is just kind of like, hey, there's a Mew tucked in there.
Yeah, it's not the highlight, but definitely check out the blog on PokemonProfessor.com so you can take a look at these cards in person. They'll link to their pages on TCG Player if you want to pick up these cards. The links are there. What about using this thing in a deck? Are you seeing people do this with Genesect a lot? Because that's kind of what...
almost 100%. And then I see the Meloetta as the single prize attacker in there.
Okay. And I guess what would you just run, like 4 Fusion Strike energy?
Yep. So
and a couple
and it's strange psychic. Because if you're running a card that discards special energies, which I mean, there's really no like discard cards right now. But I was looking, and there's an Eviltal that for 2 colorless discards all special energies your opponent has in play.
Ooh.
And I think that could be clutch. Just saying.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty awesome.
Because I did come up again some times where my opponent had 3 Fusion Strike energies, and it's like, if I had that would put them back.
That would ruin their whole plan.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, I thought this was a good card to pick for Card of the Week just because it seems to be talked about everywhere. It seems to be being used everywhere. So I figured, why not talk about it and see what people are using it, how they're using it, and if you're using it with stuff other than Genesect, because that seems to be the trend.
Definitely. All right, Ken, you want to get into these packs?
Sure, yeah. I've got 2 packs ready to go here. I have a Darkness Ablaze. You know what? Let's start with Darkness Ablaze, see if we could pull a Mew.
Oh my goodness, that would be insane.
Wouldn't that be cool? All right. Oh, it's a white code card.
Yeah, we're just talking about Mew, and let's see if you can pull one.
All right, the code HNMKBQCBNZBVX. Good luck. Let us know what you get. Dude, if I get the Mew, that would be pretty awesome. All right, Water Energy, Simipour, Spikemuth, what is that? Spikemuth? Birdkeeper, Cubchoo, Rowlet, Jigglypuff, Diglett, Panpour. Reverse is a Skitty, and my rare is a Hollow Milotic.
Womp womp.
All right, that's not a Mew. That is not a Mew, but it is a Hollow. And Adam, since you do not have a pack of cards, I will graciously open a second pack of cards. I have some Evolving Skies. It's also a white code. All right.
Ooh, let's go.
JLG G2L WDG RD2P. good luck. All right, we've got Fighting Energy, Braviary, Switching Cups, Tentacruel, Nickit, Dwebble, Rufflet, Roggenrola, Wobbuffet. My reverse is Zweilous. That's funny. That's our art of the week. And Kyurem, Hollow. 2 hollows. I'll take it.
All right, not bad.
I'll take it. So all these packs are from TCGplayer.com. Please visit TCGplayer.com through the link that we have in our description, or visit PokemonProfessor.com and click Shop TCG. It'll take you to our affiliate link page on TCGplayer.com. Any cards or supplies you purchase after visiting that link will help us out. It won't cost you a penny. And the link in our description, bookmark it. So that way, anytime you do any shopping there, you start your shopping journey, and it helps us out, and it's no different to you. Now, Adam, the Zweilous that I have here from Evolving Skies just happens to be the Zweilous card that is next on our show notes here to talk about for Art of the Week, which is really cool because I'm holding the card up right in front of me. This is from illustrator Akira Komiyama. We've talked about Komiyama before. It's so cool now that we've had these Art of the Weeks going for so long that we're starting to talk about the artists more and more, and I'm learning more and more about them and learning their styles and the different cards that they do. But this was an interesting one because this artist started with Darkness Ablaze, right? So Darkness Ablaze is only a couple expansions back, but since Darkness Ablaze, they've illustrated over 180 cards, which is like, it blows my mind. I know, right? Like,
that's
I don't know how
insane.
many that averages per expansion, but I thought that was really cool. This one is a very interesting art style because the background of this has these really like flared out colors of like this sunset, but the Zweilous is kind of
Highlighted.
It's
it
like
almost
it's
looks
very
like it's
well
staring
lit.
at, like, it's got lava in front of it or something, but the light is glowing straight off of its face.
Yeah, I like the way that the lighting of this card a ton. It just looks really cool, and I think that the framing of the dragon type yellow background of the card just kind of complements the colors of the sunset. Super cool. Super, super cool. This next one, totally different look here. This one is from Crimson Invasion. The illustrator is Kodama. Kodama has only done like 60 cards, but one of my favorite recent cards is the Single Strike Urshifu VMAX. This illustrator did that card. So props to Kodama. I just love those Urshifu cards so much. But there was a bunch of, when I was looking at the roster of cards that this illustrator has done, there was a bunch of VMAX and V cards in the roster. So it's cool that those cards kind of have their own vibe. So illustrators
And a lot of players are playing with those cards.
Yeah, so you see them a lot, and it's very cool. But in this one, it almost looks like the two heads of Zweilous are like attacking each other. Like it looks like either that or they're playing or frolicking or something. I can't tell what's going on.
But it's very rustic. It feels like the new region from the Arceus game. That's what it feels like the art style.
Okay, you know what? I think you're kind of right. Like there's a lot of foreground stuff. There's like different blades of grass and foliage and stuff like that. So it does look.
It's like a rustic painting kind of style.
I dig it. I definitely dig it. Super cool. Again, huge departure now in style when we go to our next card, and this one is from our favorite set, Adam, Steam Siege.
This is my least favorite one.
Really? Interesting. Well,
100%.
This is Ken Sugimori. Ken Sugimori is a legend, right? The original artwork for the 151 from Kanto has done like TCG work, merch work, has worked on the movies, manga, like all different types of Pokemon stuff this artist has worked on. And I don't know, I kind of get the feeling of like a classic card when I look at this. It's just like, I don't know, it just like Zweilous looks like a Muppet and it just has like this explosion behind it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say it looks rushed, but it looks like it was rushed.
Is it because the Zweilous isn't that detailed? Is that what it is?
It's okay with a normal cartoony look, but the background just looks like it was. Well, let's go through like some slides of backgrounds that I just have to put behind stuff, and that one works.
Yeah, and
or that's what's left in my portfolio.
And like the attacks here, double hit and power breath, like even the attacks don't necessarily jive with the with the background. So, I was thinking maybe one of the attacks has to do with like
an explosion,
this sunburst or an explosion. But yeah, I see what you're saying. They probably had like the PNG of the Zweilous done, and they're like, hey, what background can we put this in front of? Bring out the clip art. Sorry, Ken Sugimori. And this next one, our final example here, this one's super rad. This is from Phantom Forces, a set that I'm not too familiar with. Kagamaru Himeno is the illustrator, and this is an illustrator that's been with the franchise since the beginning. Whenever you see like Pokemon Tales, the old books, in the credits of the illustrator, they've been around for a long time. So Himeno's been around for ages. I don't know. How would you describe this? It almost looks like Zweilous is like running full lines. Tilt. Yeah.
One head's going forward while the other one's like flung backwards.
You could tell it's just booking. Yeah,
and the attack correlates with the image. Slam. So it looks like it's running at you to slam you.
Yeah, that's super cool. Super cool. Something pretty neat too. 90 hit points on all the cards except for the Evolving Skies version, which is 100 hit points. So
power creep.
Yeah, by 10 hit points over 2 years. So taking a look at the 4 of these, which is your favorite?
My favorite is the first one.
The first one? Nice. Yeah. From Evolving Skies. You know what? I'll get a picture of that up on our Instagram tomorrow so you can check that out. Since I have the card in my hand right now. I think I might go with the Crimson Invasion ones, the one from Kodama. I just think that it looks painted. When you said like it looks rustic, I think it just the Pokemon looks so natural in the environment. I think that the lighting and the palette is just super soft, so it all blends together really nicely. So, very, very cool stuff. All right, Adam, why don't we take a little break? Come back. I want you to school me on Brilliant Stars because I know literally nothing about this new set. And then we'll talk a little bit about Logan Paul.
Okay, sounds good. But it's a Hisui region. I forgot.
Hisui.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that out. I'm like, what is it?
Yes, sorry, thank you, Professor Google.
Yes, Professor Google coming in clutch.
All right, we'll be back
right after this. And we are back. Thank you, trainers, for that break. Hope you're all refreshed. Ken, how are your ears? How's your vocals?
My ears are okay. They're a little sweaty.
Sweaty ears. Ooh.
Dude, I don't like these headphones, man. See, this is the problem. Because, like, I have gauges in my ears, right? I have these giant holes. So it's like I have to get headphones that have ear cups. But sometimes the ear cups don't necessarily fit my ears because they're all stretched out from these gauges. So I almost have to like push my earlobes like into the headphone cups to make them fit. And it's not the most comfortable always. So
I know the feeling. I have one gauge.
It's feeling a little crammed in there.
They're cramorant. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, they're a little cramorant in there. All right, let's get through a little housekeeping and let's talk Brilliant Stars.
Okay. This podcast is powered by Patreon. You can check ours out over at patreon.com/PokemonProfessor, where you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. That $1 is going to get you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, which is a fantastic place filled with fantastic people. All patrons are eligible to participate in our monthly Pokemon Go and TCGO prize tournaments. Registration's in the Discord, and we hope to see you there.
Whoop, whoop.
Huge thank you to our gym leaders, Absolutely Ryan, Dig Dug Rob, Grant, Jamal, JD Mojo Jojo, Magikarp Diem, TN Comics Wiz, and Big Zom Minus. Special thanks to our executive producer, Tish Smith. Thank you so
Tish.
Much. If Patreon's not your thing, you can still show your support by connecting with us on social media and other podcast platforms. Check out PokemonProfessor.com for links to everywhere you can follow us. Leave reviews and check out our merch. We would greatly appreciate it.
Oh, Spotify now has a review system. You can leave star reviews on Spotify. So if you haven't already, download Spotify, subscribe to the show, listen to an episode, and toss us some stars. We would appreciate it.
Oh, I love the stars.
All right, speaking of stars, that's like the
Brilliant
worst.
Stars.
Dude, that is the lamest, most unoriginal transition for a podcaster. Like, speaking of, like, that is the worst. I'm sorry I just did that. I was like, speaking of stars, that's the worst.
Let's be distinguished gentlemen and
amateur
talk about
hour.
Stars.
Amateur hour. All right,
amateur
go ahead.
hour.
Brilliant Stars.
So Brilliant Stars is coming out soon. And there's a whole bunch of cards that I'm excited for. We've got Ultra Ball coming back. It's being reprinted. So this is like the fourth or fifth time the gold Ultra Ball has been reprinted.
When this card went out, people knew not to like put these cards away because they knew that it was going to be coming back soon or soon enough. And here we go.
Well, see, then they're doing this stuff where, instead of Roseanne's research, they're doing Roseanne's like backup or something. I don't know. But it's just different naming conventions. So you can't use the same card, even though they would technically do the same thing. I mean, not that this one does do the same. It's different, but
just a variance of text.
Yeah.
So you can't.
I just wish it was the old
up.
card. Do you remember Tapu Lele GX?
I sure do.
Where you could play it down and search your deck for a supporter. Luminion V is just that. It's even got the same amount of hit points, 170. Only it's water type, so you've got that. It's got the ability Luminous Sign. Again, search your deck for a supporter card. End of story. It does have an attack for 1 water and 2 colorless. Aqua Return, 120 damage, and then shuffle this Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your deck. Whoa. I like that card much better.
Yeah, it seems like an improvement.
Yeah, so you can tech 1 in and then still be able to attack and throw it under, so it's no longer a liability.
Yep.
You could do a single prize Frostmoth deck. Something like that. And then we have Manaphy with a bench barrier Mew feel because it prevents all damage done to your bench Pokemon.
Yeah, that's so huge.
Right now the format needs it because we're seeing a lot of Jolteon VMAX, which is killing me.
It's like you're having the cat get caught up with all the trolley Pokemon.
Yeah. Now, if you remember back in the day, which was not too long ago, in Lost Thunder we had Genesect Gx, and it had a double drive ability, which lets you hold on to 2 tool cards. There's a new Honchkrow V that lets you hold on to 4 tool cards.
It's like a better double drive. It's like a quad drive ability.
Quad drive. And then also a supporter that I saw, and I thought, this is the coolest supporter. Charon's Care. Put one of your colorless Pokemon that has any damage counters on it and all cards attached into your hand.
That's so huge.
That's insane.
That's
so
so
the last
huge.
card that was like this was like AZ, which the whole Pokemon went to your hand. Or I think Seeker or Briney's Compassion. They all kind of did something similar. This is only for colorless Pokemon. But imagine putting stuff on it like tools and stuff, and then just putting it back into your hand.
Yes.
All the cards. So if you needed that that special colorless energy, or whatever the special energy is, let's just say you play the capture energy, you could use Charon, pull it back up, play it down, use it again.
Wow.
I really, really like this card. I'm curious to find out what uses it'll have. I mean, Arceus V-Star is a colorless Pokemon, so it doesn't distinguish whether it needs to be a V or a normal colorless. It just says colorless.
It just says colorless. Yeah. I think you're going to see a lot of people playing that Arceus because they just want to. You know what I mean? It's like the poster child of the set.
Yeah, and then plus you've got the Charons, so if they do damage it enough, you could just be like, well, I'll just Charons it away.
I'll take it back.
So if you're not one-shotting it, you're not getting it.
Wow.
And then we have a Choice Belt, which is kind of like Choice Band. It says Pokemon tool card, attach it to one of your Pokemon. The attacks of this Pokemon that this card is attached to do 30 more damage to your opponent's active V.
That's so much bigger than 20 damage.
Yes.
Like, that's like, there's been so many times where the 20 damage wasn't enough. You know what I mean? So 30 damage would just seal the deal. So this could be big. I like
this
how they're
already
bringing
is big.
back cards like that are similar to existing or older cards, out of format cards. They're just a little variation, but better.
Yeah, and this is going to give viability to stage 2 decks, or no, not stage 2 decks, stage 1 decks. So stuff that evolves, like I was just looking through the cards because I'm putting my binder together for Fusion Strike. So Primate already says Gut Punch. It does 30 for 1 energy. It says if your opponent's active Pokemon is a Pokemon V, the stack does 60 more damage. So if it's a V, you're going to do 120 damage for 1 energy.
That's so sweet.
To a Jolteon VMAX or a V, that's 240 damage.
Yeah, that's legit. That's super legit. But
just saying.
What's the release date on Brilliant Stars? Isn't it like
I don't know. I think it's sometime in February. Google
it's February
Professor
25th.
Google.
February
yeah, Professor
25th.
Google.
Thank you, Professor Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, February 25th. So I'd imagine if local stores are doing pre-releases, that we'll probably see them in a week or two.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right,
but again, I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah, no one does. Dude, we're so close to like when competitions are supposed to come back. We were talking about it last week. I just don't know. I don't. But there is something I do know about, and that's that Logan Paul's cards were fake. So
You mean the G.I. Joe cards? Those were real.
All right, so this is a huge deal, and it's a huge deal for a lot of reasons, and Logan Paul has kind of become, I don't know, it's like he's like Voldemort to a lot of core TCG fans and collectors. Then there's like this wave of TCG investors and market watchers that love Logan Paul because of his stuff. His market has inflated. So I don't know. I guess this was maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. He posted a photo of him holding this case over his pool, which was hilarious, saying, "Hey, I just spent $3.5 million on this sealed first edition case of base set Pokemon. And it has the baseball card exchange verification wrapper on it with a label." And this is where I could provide some insight, right? Because I work in the sports card industry. So baseball card exchange is pretty much the law when it comes to verifying the validity of sealed sports card products, especially with vintage, old rack packs, wax packs from the 60s, 70s, like all that old stuff. If it has baseball card exchange wrapping on it and a label, you can pretty much dispel any question that the thing is not real. Now, another interesting note here is that baseball card exchange does the verification for PSA when PSA does graded packs. So you've seen like slabbed packs of vintage cards.
Yep.
So baseball card exchange is involved in that process. So let's go back in time a little bit. And you know what? Even before we do that, what's the hot give me your gut feeling when you first saw the headline, when you first caught wind that these cards were fake. What were your feelings?
A little bummed, because it would have been nice to know that there was a legit case floating around.
So I really didn't know how I felt, because I knew that the fallout from this was going to be greater than me just saying like, this millionaire YouTuber, like, who cares, right? I knew it was going to be bigger than that. So I saw people's emotions ranging from like, kind of a quote unquote, that's what you get, you know what I mean, kind of thing, to, hey, I really feel bad for this guy. There was all over the place, all different types of people responding. It made national news, like it was everywhere. Now, if you're in the know, you may know this YouTuber named Rattle. And Rattle's created this YouTube series back in December. So before this whole, fraudulent stuff came to light. And he started discussing through video the numerous red flags that were surrounding this case. And a lot of people in the community had picked up on it themselves. And it baffles me that Logan Paul didn't do this himself. But back in March of 2020, so we're going back now.
All right.
This case first appeared on Canada's eBay site. And the listing looked like a grade school kid did it. It had grammatical errors. There was the account that it was listed from had like no history, no feedback. And I remember them talking about this like on Reddit, saying like, look at this fake, and people were making jokes about it. But even with those suspicions, the case still sold for US conversion, still sold for like $72,000, $72,500. So that was like a big red flag, saying like, hey, how could this thing have appreciated in a year and a half up to 3.5 million? Something's fishy here, something's sus. So this dude, Jacob Gabby, right? He's the @CardKahuna. This is the guy that essentially got possession of this case, this sealed case. And he's the one that flipped it to Shine. Shine was like in the video with Logan Paul and all that good stuff. He sold it to Shine for $2.7 million. Then Shine sold it to Logan Paul for $3.5 million. So think of it like this. Since March of 2020, this thing went from being sold for $72,000 to just less than 2 years later being sold for $3.5 million over the course of 3 transactions, right? So while CardKahuna owned this box, so while he had possession of this box, he brought the thing to Baseball Card Exchange. They're a Chicago-based company. Again, they're the industry standard. They're very, very reputable in the sports card world. And they said, hey, I want to authenticate this box. They even live streamed them bringing the box to Baseball Card Exchange, I guess, to validate, their process. What people thought was interesting was that Baseball Card Exchange, they didn't film the actual verification process. It was kind of like, hey, here's the box, and then boom, next thing you know, the thing's verified. So that was a little sus. And that's when the cellophane, the shrink wrap goes on the thing saying, hey, we've inspected this, we've verified it, this is legit. And obviously, when someone verifies a sealed case, they can't open it, right? They can't open it. They're not going to do anything like that. It's a non-invasive process. So all they can do is judge by the outside of the packaging. So they think that this thing is real. Now, I'm going to link to a Poke Beach article in the description. And in this article, it's crazy how he dug this stuff up. But there's a bunch of like private DMs between Shine and probably CardKahuna. They seem totally weird. And it seems like CardKahuna is telling Shine, like, dude, do not let Logan Paul open this. Like, just more and more red flags. Lots of drama. Take it down. I'll give you money. Like, it was just seeing all this crazy, suspicious activity. And the article even goes on to like claim who this original seller was from Canada, which is another known, TCG personality online. But I won't go into that. You can check it out in the Poke Beach article. But as things started ramping up, you started to see articles come up, Newsweek, Wall Street Journal, Forbes, IGN, Kotaku, saying like, hey, Logan Paul's $3.5 million investment may be fake. Because all this news started making the rounds that there's been all this suspicious activity surrounding this case. People started like zooming in on the photo, looking at the label, which, would have been from Wizards of the Coast at the time because they produced the set. People were comparing that to other proven real labels from Wizards of the Coast, saying like, oh, this barcode is off or this product code is off. Like all these pretty clear-cut reasons that you would think that this thing is fake. That picked up so much steam that Logan Paul actually retweeted the IGN article and said, hey, I want everyone to know that I recognize that something might be bad here.
Fishy.
I'm going to fly to Chicago to go to Baseball Card Exchange and have them re-verify the product. And everyone was like, wow, this is like the most level-headed, mature, and realistic thing Logan Paul has ever done. So I think it was on the 13th, January 13th. So this is 6 days ago. There's like a video Logan Paul puts up on his YouTube of they're in a hotel room. So they're not even at the Baseball Card Exchange facility. They're at Logan Paul's hotel room, and the dude from Baseball Card Exchange is there. And I know it's him because the owner of the business that I work for in sports cards is friends with the guy from Baseball Card Exchange because we do tons and tons of business with them. And he's, the owner of my business that I work for is like this, big personality in the sports card world. So they know, each other very, very well. They're on a friendly basis. So he sees that he's really there, and all this suspicion starts happening, and you start to see like all the blood pretty much leave Logan Paul's face. Similar to when he did the thing with Leonhardt, and what did he spend? $347,000 on one box.
That was
right.
Ridiculous.
He bought that one box that ended up being a fake. It was like a repack with like random Pokemon cards. So you see that same look on his face. He's standing in the corner, kind of with his hand over his mouth, shaking his head, and the dude from Baseball Card Exchange says like, "Hey man, I think we made a mistake here. I don't think that this is real." And then Logan Paul's like, "Get the razor, open the case." And you got to think about it, right? If this was real, he's pretty much saying, I'm washing away my ability to have this piece as an investment because I'm going to open it. So like, he never said that he was going to open this thing. He just said he bought it. So if it was real, he was throwing out any ability to resell this thing in the future. They open up the case. They pull off the Baseball Card Exchange labels. As soon as they open the box, you can tell things were not good. The room falls silent. The box...
Yeah, one of the boxes was like
it was like
edition,
warped. You could tell. Yeah, it was all screwy.
They're like, "Why is it bubbling like that? Why is
open
it
the box?" He's like, "Open the box." Pulls out the first box of cards. They slice it open. Open the flap. It's filled with G.I. Joe trading cards. It's like the group. Look, from an entertainment value perspective, I was rolling on the floor. I was like, "This is gold right here." Logan Paul's face, he just, threw away $3.5 million. Granted, he's making some of it back from production. The thing is fake. Oddly enough, the value of G.I. Joe cards goes up. That's just another funny tangent. But Shine, the dude that he bought this thing for $3.5 million, gives him the $3.5 million back. So Logan Paul gets his $3.5 million back. Shine is still out the $2.7 million that he paid for it from Card Kahuna. Card Kahuna refusing to give him his money back. So it's like lawsuits. It's all this madness going on, and tidying everything up. Boom. This case is a fake. It was fraudulent. Nothing good came of it. So what does that mean, right? What does this mean for the market? And this is where things get really interesting. So Baseball Card Exchange puts out a tweet, and the tweet, I'll summarize it, says, "Hey, back in March, we made a good faith opinion on what we thought was, a legitimate case of first edition base set Pokemon, cards. We found out in Chicago that this was not the case. This was not true. And as a result, they're halting the production of their company, of Baseball Card Exchange, to do any further verification of Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards until they reassess their processes." So even if you wanted to get a case verified by Baseball Card Exchange right now, even if it's modern, they're not going to do it. So they're pretty much saying, yeah, we screwed up. You would think that, okay, it's great, life goes on. But now here's the problem. They've become the industry standard in the sports card world. So now there's this incredible fallout where a company like mine that I work for, Vintage Breaks, where we're selling these vintage cards that are verified by Baseball Card Exchange, the credibility of Baseball Card Exchange has now just like hand over fist. And, you know, the wrapping that Baseball Card Exchange does on these cases and boxes has become synonymous with validity, with things being, you know, good to go. Now it's almost like the opposite. It's a very, very bad fallout. So since that tweet where they said they're not doing any more Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, they've kind of been radio silent across the board. So I think that this is going to have significant fallout, significant ramifications across the sports card world for a long, long time. But,
well, the question becomes, for all of those cases that they've, you know, deemed certified, hey, these are real, right, legit. What if somebody opens it and it's not?
I know.
Did they get fined, or did they get sued?
Right,
like,
that's the thing. You have to remember, it's when they verify something, that's a paid service. It's not like they're doing this as a charity. So again, the fallout is massive. It's huge. So I'm interested to see how this affects things over time. Now, let's draw a parallel here, again, from the sports card world. Let's talk about PSA. PSA's credibility pretty much went down the tubes because when the pandemic hit, you couldn't send a card into PSA without paying an astronomical amount of money to get this thing turned around and get it in time, because they just got influx with millions and millions of cards to grade. They couldn't do it. So what happened? You start seeing all these new grading houses pop up, independent grading houses. You see things like, you know, that had a small stake, a small market share in the industry start to get a little bit more steam. And you see, before you know it, there's 10, 20 different grading houses, where before you had, you know, PSA, SGC, Beckett, you know, maybe a couple of other small ones. Now there's like a million grading houses. So already Facebook algorithm knows me so well. I'm starting to get ads delivered to me for sports card memorabilia authentication services from companies I've never seen before. So there's already an influx of new companies that are going to try to take a bite out of Baseball Card Exchange's market, because they're trying to capitalize on their loss of credibility due to this transaction. So it's crazy right now in the sports card world, man. It's totally shook up. I don't know how this is going to impact the Pokemon world, because we've never really seen Baseball Card Exchange do stuff for Pokemon before. This was not their area of expertise.
But now anybody sitting on anything that they've certified that was
they're super
Pokemon,
questionable.
Now it's like
oh,
somebody's got to open something.
Do they ship it back to Baseball Card Exchange and say, I need you to re-verify this, or I want my money back? Like, I don't know. The fallout's going to be massive. Like, the poor dude from Baseball Card Exchange, I mean, it's like, and ironically, like, I had this conversation with someone in the sports card industry, and I was like, yeah, man, I really feel bad for this dude from Baseball Card Exchange. And they're like, feel bad? Why do you feel bad? He screwed up. And I'm like, dude, because just like grading, we're not talking about a machine. We're not talking about, you know, a giant door that you stick the case of Pokemon cards in and then it comes out with a receipt and it says it's verified. It's still a human that has to go through all these checks and balances. Humans make mistakes. So I do feel bad that he made a mistake. It's a huge mistake. It's a $3.5 million mistake. But
yeah, that's insane.
But what does that mean for the industry? What does that mean for these big sales? And then the conversation comes into the whole Logan Paul thing in general. It's like, well, yeah, Logan Paul is not a realistic Pokemon collector. Who deals in cards that are $3.5 million besides like these like audacious YouTubers, right? Like, there's not going to be any TCG collectors or anything like that are throwing $3.5 million around. This is Hollywood stuff. it's just a bananas situation, and I don't know what the long-term fallout's going to be. But I can tell you what, it was covered everywhere. It's all over the news, and I think, just like you said, Adam, is going to be very interesting if there's existing product out there that's currently verified, Pokemon product that's verified by Baseball Card Exchange. I just don't know. I just don't know if that could even hurt the value. Where prior, not only did it increase the value or secure the value, now it can actually degrade the value. It's a crazy industry, man. These are like such incredible first world problems, but like the problems are real. So I don't know, but let's take away all this stuff and just talk about Logan Paul for a second, right? We've talked about him before on the show, how the Leonhardt thing with, what was the dude's name? Collectibles Guru?
Guru,
Collectibles Guru, Crypto King, whatever his name is now. He changed his alias. That whole thing was pretty much the start of the scalping industry in the TCG pre-pandemic, because it showed people, the masses, that, hey, these Pokemon cards aren't just a game. There's actually investment value, and there's a huge secondary market. And then from that point forward, we started seeing, this was like the time of around Vivid Voltage. These things were just not available anymore because the scalpers were getting them all, and the market values skyrocketed. So if you were an investor or a dealer, you were loving it because you could sell stuff all day long and the value was incredible. You could get your cards, flip them, no questions, no harm, no foul. It was just the way business was going. So to the everyday TCG fan, and even people like us who are in the industry, we couldn't get our hands on cards. Like, thankfully, we had partnerships with distributors and stuff to allow us, but the everyday trainer couldn't. And people are like, why is this happening? Why doesn't my Target have product? They have milk, they have eggs, they have clothes. Where are my Pokemon cards? A lot of people attribute that to Logan Paul's madness, the madness that surrounded that. So that's the question I'll pose to the audience here is, what do you feel about all this? And is it right to say kind of like a, play stupid games, win stupid prizes type of thing? Or should we have compassion in the situation? Should we feel bad for Logan Paul? Should we feel bad for Baseball Card Exchange? How should we think about this? It's such a wild, incredible story. And we're talking about $3.5 million here. We're not talking about chump change. Like, this is...
Oh, I was going to say,
no, it's not. It's not. It's like we were talking at work and we're like, man, can you imagine like just trying to even scale it, right? Imagine you bought something for $350 and found out it was fake. I would be furious.
Yeah, if I bought a PSA 10 Delibird and was like, whoa, I got this thing for $100, and then all of a sudden it's like it falls apart, it's fake, and you can tell that the card's all scratched up, like, I'd be very upset.
I want to know what everyone thinks. Email us, info@specialconditionstcg.com. Connect with us on social. I don't think that this conversation is going away anytime soon, and it's going to be interesting to see how Baseball Card Exchange handles this going forward, because I just don't think this is a good look for that company. I think they're probably going to have to either completely show the world that they've revamped their processes and hired new people and put in the QA department and all this stuff, or they're going to say, we're never touching Pokemon cards ever again. That's like the only way out, I think. So, man, what a story, dude. What a story. It's so insane. It's so insane. But with that, I think we're good to wrap up on that note. A lot of stuff to pontificate over and consider.
Okay, but before we go, we want to give a huge thanks to our show supporter tier patrons: Adrock, Alex, Andrew, Brian, Chad, Carol, Chris, Cody, Garrett, GStacks87, Gurgles788, Harry, Heracross Boss, James, Jason, J Mackle, Justin, Ken, Lady Goobly Meat, Malcolm, MD Raver, M Pitts, Pokenavbot, Purple Pancakes, Ricky, Sam, Speedwad, Steven, Winston, and Wood Wolf. And remember, trainers, if you're affected by a special condition, don't forget to use a full heal.
Thank you for 100 episodes.
Woo!